another week, another question, Bethany. We're going to try to answer some questions that people have about Invisalign and their treatment that we run across. But what question you got for me for this time?
A question I get a lot is, why do we eat in our Invisalign trays?
Why do we eat with them in? That's a very good question. So for us, our philosophy on why we're having patients eat with these things in is ultimately we want to make sure people's treatment is as efficient as possible, as predictable as possible, and the easiest way to do that is to consistently be moving the teeth the way that we want and having the aligners push on those teeth the way we want to as much as we can. Whenever they're not in the mouth, teeth have a tendency to want to move kind of where they were or where they want to be. And with the aligner in, we're consistently pushing them the right way. So if someone is wearing their aligner most of the day and they take them out to eat, what we tend to see is that becomes a stretch where they take them out, they're eating for a while, and they may or may not get right back in, and that's time we've lost with those aligners in. Also, people take them out and they wrap them in a napkin or put them somewhere. Aligners disappear. That is a very common problem we'd see sometimes. But most importantly is if they're in there, there's no resistance to the forces from when we're eating to the direction we want to move the teeth. And a perfect example of that is if I'm a tooth and we're trying to bring us kind of closer together and where the aligners are pushing us closer all day, and then you take them out to eat lunch and then all of a sudden you're eating on us and then we're doing this the opposite direction and we are resisting where we're trying to go with the forces we're putting on those teeth. And again, the goal is predictable, efficiently moving where we want. And then, so if the aligner's in there, even though you're eating, it is consistently trying to move it where we want it to go. That lets us, again, get to the finish line faster and more predictably for patients. And that's the ultimate goal, is how do we get you there? How do we make sure these teeth are where we expect them to be as we're moving through the process? So for us, we have patients eat with them in. Different people do different things. So, you may have a friend that says, hey, my dentist told me that, their dentist told them to take them out when they eat. And there's nothing wrong with that. But what we want and what we have found works better is wearing these things all the time.
Okay. Well, what if the patient's uncomfortable with eating while their trays are in?
Gotcha. So it is something that is different. And different can be very uncomfortable to start with. But what we find is if we get people to commit to different, it becomes a little less uncomfortable. And it is no different than if, someone asks you to wear a jacket or something, or a uniform, or, a coat or a scarf. Or I think I'm not a big tie person. You put a tie on and it feels awkward. But if I keep that on long enough, it becomes less awkward. As we're starting treatment, that first week or two is really critical. And if we can get people to commit to doing that and just putting them in, just eat with them in, trust the process, it becomes less awkward and to a point where it is not uncomfortable. But if we're sporadically doing it, like sometimes I'm doing it, sometimes I'm not, here and there, we can usually tell, but also that adjustment doesn't happen because we didn't commit to it enough to make it not be uncomfortable. It's not painful to eat with them in, any of those things. But the reality of it is when we first put them in, whether you're eating or not, it's a little uncomfortable. It's a little weird because it's different. That is the best way to describe it. It's different from our norm. But if we embrace different, it becomes our new norm. And the benefit of embracing that norm is, again, faster treatment, more predictable treatment. Let's get to the finish line. We can do it if people don't, but again, that is the risk we run, is that we lose a lot of that predictability and efficiency if they're not doing it. And we can tell, and we have, we work with our patients that won't do that, but it makes a huge, huge difference as far as what we're trying to accomplish.
Yep. All right. Well, that's all I had for today.
Perfect. Till next time.